Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back to the Gloomhaven Grand Festival. I am Price Johnson, Cephalofair's Chief Operating Officer. Today I am joined by the man himself, Vince from Lucky Duck Games, CEO and owner. Vince, how are you doing today?
I'm very good and very excited to come talk about our work on the
Excellent.
companion app of Frosthaven.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. For those that don't know, Vince here is the CEO, like I said, of Lucky Duck Games. Vince, what can you tell us a little bit for those uninitiated with Lucky Duck
Sure.
Games?
Okay, so Lucky the Game, actually, for the story, is my fifth company. I come from the video game industry. I started programming at the age of 12 years old and worked to a very large video game company until I fell into the board game and board game industry. Started Lucky Duck 7 years ago with the first game called Vikings Gone Wild. But we really got known with a first game called Chronicles of Crime, which was a digital hybrid board game mixing an app and a board game. And I guess I realized at the time that there was very few board game company capable of creating this type of content, and the fact that I came from the video game industry and I was a programmer myself gave us this advantage. So we really built a 20 people studio. We're based in Poland, and we have released games like Destinies, and we have another game called Divinus, The Dark Quarter, and recently a campaign for a game called Into the God's Grave. All very innovative digital hybrid app-driven board games.
Great. And that is exactly why when Cephalofair found ourselves in need of a full-time dedicated application developer for our companion apps, Lucky Ducks was one of the first players that came to mind. Vincent, it's been great getting to know you over the last several years. I know in 2019 we took a little trip over to China before the world fell
Yeah,
apart with
that's right.
a little pandemic, but it was great getting to learn more about you and your background in apps and video games. I find that funny because from my perspective, a reason why a lot of us do what we do in board games is because we're not smart enough or we lack the skills to do proper coding and video game work. So I find it very amusing that you're smart enough to have done the opposite, right? So you're coming from the harder to, arguably harder to develop and launch world of video games and making that much more physical. So yeah,
I,
so that's great.
interestingly, because the tools for making apps is a lot more accessible. It's very difficult market to be in, to be honest,
Yeah.
from a strictly business standpoint. So
Very
so
competitive is
yeah,
how I
very
heard you
competitive. Yeah,
describe that in
I
the past.
literally uploaded an app I created with my 9 years old a week ago. So yeah, if you're 9 years old can upload something, that's how much noise there is out there for what you're doing. And I guess there is just to, sorry, a small bracket. They will also, as I grew older, I was really excited at the idea of working on a company that would bring people together
Yeah.
rather than in a way isolate them. I was doing a lot of free to play apps, and so the idea of like creating product that actually bring people around the table in this day and age was a very important thing for me. So
Oh, that's great. And you've talked about a few of the games that you all have published. I'm just gonna have to tout them here myself, but Chronicles of Crime is also where Lucky Duck Games obviously hit my radar first. It's still a game that is on my list of like we have new players coming over to play modern board games for the first time, and I really want to impress them with like you want to see what board games can do. Chronicles of Crimes is one of those ones where we pull out, and without fail, every time someone's impressed and they're like, "Oh, I had no idea that this is something board games could do now," and they're endlessly impressed and wanting to play it again. So that's definitely was my first introduction. Destinies as well, a ton of fun with that one. Just the story, the narrative, the way that it all ties together as you're exploring separately but also sort of cooperatively in that environment, revealing the story events and things like that is really neat. My kid's favorite currently, Turtle Splash. Can't go wrong with that one. So
it's awesome.
that is my son's favorite. We do a board game club at school, and so he's always teaching the younger kids that one. And it's a fun little
It's,
dexterity game, right, where you're flicking the turtle down the water.
it's wonderful. Yeah, it's
Uh,
such a good game.
yeah. So I had to brag on you for a little bit more there for a second, but again, just wanted our community to know, we started as fans of Lucky Ducks before we even, considered approaching you about partnering to do apps and things like that together. So
Thank you,
Yeah,
Price.
yeah, no, thank you for trusting us. So, yeah, for those that have already used the app, we do have the Frosthaven companion app. For those unfamiliar with companion apps and how those work with
Oh, did we lose Price? Okay.
and it's Monday when the internet's being as fickle as it is. So welcome back. Thank you for joining us on today's live stream for Lucky Duck Games and talking about our companion apps for Gloomhaven, for Frosthaven, and more. So yeah, Vincent, we were just talking about the Frosthaven companion app. That was something that we came to Lucky Duck mid development and said, hey, we have a new need, we have an app, we have we'd like to pursue, and have several mechanical development needs that we have for the game, for the app, and for our community. And that was something that was not a small order by any means. And we came to the table, Vincent. That was something you were very warm early on in hearing out and learning more about. And I think very quickly agreed to and said yes, that would be an adventure you join us on. So let's talk a little bit about what the Frosthaven companion app does right now, so
Sure.
people know and can check that out. And then we've got some new news we can share on the other side of that. So
Sure. So I have to say, when you approached me with the idea of making this app, it was true excitement, to be honest, because I personally had played, like, like many actually of us, like Gloomhaven is probably the one game that we have played the most hours in our lifetime. It's a game that's very demanding, very addictive. And so the idea of working on, I didn't play First Seven at the time, but the idea on working on its sequel was extremely exciting for us.
to
And
be fair, no one had played Frosthaven at that time, so agreeing might have been a questionable thing in the first place. But thank you all the same.
No, I mean it appeared very clearly that the game were close enough in their mechanics, and so, but I what we I think the idea and the way we approached development was one step at a time. We The idea was to slowly build the best possible companion app for Frosthaven over time, and knowing that we had, we're not like a 100 people studio, so we had limited resources. The idea was to start from the most critical feature, and months after months after months after months after its release, to keep listening to the community, to its feedback, to more feature implementation, more also uh, uh, bug fixes, and to finally get it to a place where we're really proud of where the app is at today. So, in a nutshell, the Frost 7 companion app today, what it does is simple. It's You can basically track multiple party, so you can use the game with multiple people and have multiple track at the same time. For each of them, you actually can track each of the mission you are currently playing or that you've completed. When you launch a mission, actually you have a capacity to open the door automatically. It's instantiate automatically each of the monster based on the section of the world that you're opening, and it has many features to basically lower the maintenance of the game from as simple as health and experience, but also just pulling monster modifiers, to up to loot cards. Obviously, the First Seven has a lot of sometimes extremely custom and precise rules for some, and so there is some extremely edgy things that we do not support just because it will be it's extremely complex to support them. But at this point, we really support the bulk of most of what represent the heavyweight of maintenance of playing the game. We also invested a lot of time on the network stack. And I have to say, and I want to take advantage of this stream to apologize for the early player who downloaded the game. As much as the offline version in its initial form was good, the multiplayer one was dependent on a third party, which I would not name the third party, but the third party uh, um, um, network stack that was extremely faulty at scale. And what we decided to do is actually take another month and a half to rewrite our own stack from scratch. And so today we have a network stack that has been customly made to be as optimized as possible with this Frosthaven, supporting through networking the capacity to undo, for example, yeah, pretty complex. And what's the difficult part of networking is to make sure things are always sequential so that everybody has a strictly identical experience on their screen. One of the Sorry, I'm a bit chatty, but one of the latest feature we implemented, and it was all due to engaging with the community, was, for example, hiding what when you're in a multiplayer session. Initially, everybody was when they were typing their initiative for their character, everything was visible. So slowly, update after update, we did something like hiding, hiding the yeah your initiative until the turn is revealed,
Yeah.
so that you can input them all at the same time, but not spoil each other on the initiative that is entered. And all of these things, they just take a lot of time, iteration, and a lot of conversation with fans out there to make sure we get to the gritty detail that really make the app truly amazing.
Yeah. And Vincent, I appreciate you kind of recapping, right, what this road to launching the Frosthaven app, has looked like, because by no means, right, is it one of the smaller games in our industry, in our space. And so by no means is the app an easy, simple thing on the back end either to put together, and certainly nothing that we would be pursuing on our own were it not for you. So that's been one of the big changes too as well. And what I'm so excited about now that we have this partnership in place, on the backside of having done Frosthaven, is the ability that we have now to collaborate towards future releases, right? Much more pre-development time to be able to share how the game works and the mechanics and things like that, rather than when we're actually in production and getting the game shipped and things like that. So, personally, I'm very excited to have that level of collaboration with an application developer, and so thank you for joining us on that. Because as much as there's a tremendous amount of solutions that have always existed for supplementary apps and things like that in the Cephalofair space, but we've never really worked in a true dedicated fashion in this manner. So it's a first for us as well, and there's a lot that we're learning too. So thank you for helping us learn and more about the space and what we can do in and outside of the apps. So
Yep.
that being said, what is the best place, that being said, for the Gloomhaven Cephalofair community to provide feedback, whether it's on the Frosthaven app or whether it's about future apps we might be working on together? Where's the best place for your team, or what channels, threads are your team looking for those types of comments on what they can make better in terms of the experience?
Absolutely. So actually, BGG remain the best place to engage with us. For every single update, we have a new thread created in the news section of Frosthaven, and we are very engaged in those threads to reply to. And we want to keep it this way because it allows us to be able to, if there is any bug related to a specific release, it's on that thread. We are not very good at Reddit. I know there is a huge Reddit community for Gloomhaven First Seven out there, and firstly, we're not on those channels at all. So I would really appreciate if you guys join us on BGG for this type of feedback. We really want. I think it's very crucial. As I mentioned, this is for us. This is a long term investment into trying to update after update, build the best companion app possible. And I think this excellence will only come from hearing sometimes very specific scenario in which you add, oh, we add this case and this case and this case come in. It would have been great if in that case the app would have supported that. And I think this kind of conversation for us is extremely important, because as much as we're a player ourselves, there is so many ways to play this game and so many routes you can take that there's no way for us to see it all. So BGG is the best place to come chat with us.
Fantastic. And so that would just be like the Frosthaven page on BGG. Is that something you
Yeah,
can
exactly.
do
So
now?
the Frosthaven forum, sorry,
Okay, great.
the Frosthaven forum in the news section for every build there is a thread basically.
Excellent. And knowing that, I think that's something we'll be sure to continue pointing our community more towards BGG as well. I see threads and questions pop up on Reddit from time to time. We do have a large audience there, but equally large on BGG. So I think that's great for the community to know, and especially great for them to know ahead of any new apps we might be developing. So on that front, Vincent, I think it's time we share and let the world know that, of
Right.
course, we are officially working together on a Gloomhaven second edition companion app. So you've heard it here for the first time.
Yes.
We are officially pursuing that together, Cephalofair and Lucky Duck Games, and we'll be excited to have a solution in place once the game arrives next year. So, Vincent, did you have any thoughts? Anything you want
Yeah,
to share?
no, for us it's been quite an important investment to bring this app where it is, to have the level of feature implementation, and I think it's just very natural for us to keep continuing supporting the community and this type of content. So Gloomhaven 2.0 is a no-brainer. There is I have to say, I look forward to that myself. Like there's a lot of conversation in my own circle about replaying Gloomhaven in its second edition from scratch, and so I think it's excitement, but it's also a personal hype as a player to be honest, to play that second edition. To be honest,
Yeah. No, it's an exciting time for our community, but even more so for like yet to enter the community members, right? This is really a big reason of why we're pursuing a second edition is not so much to request or demand that players return to the city of Gloomhaven and do that adventure again, right? If you own that box, if you own that game, it's perfect as it is, right? That's our expectation, is that you can finish what's on your shelf already, or if you really are that hardcore and want to pick up the second edition to play a second time, great. We think we know you'll enjoy the changes and elevations we've made, but really this is future proofing, the Gloomhaven experience for future players and community members, years from now that have yet to join. And so having that dedicated companion app, and being where we're at now, which is the start of development together on that app, is a really exciting thing and a really exciting premise, to be working on together. So, yeah, really excited, and it'll be doing a lot of the same things. In fact, most of the same things that the Frosthaven app does. In fact, the Frosthaven companion app, one could argue, is arguably more complex because of some of the subsystems that exist in Frosthaven, that don't exist in the original game Gloomhaven. So again, if you're looking to alleviate setup time, or if you're looking to alleviate some of that administrative work that comes around monster combat, the companion app is going to go a long way there. It's going to remove those 5 modification decks from the table. It's going to handle your monster stat cards and ability decks. It's going to handle initiative tracking and all of those things, campaign tracking, scenario tracking, things like that as well that you come to expect. And we're also going to take a look at some of the new systems that we're implementing into Gloomhaven second edition as well, that didn't exist in the first, and we'll be sure that that's within scope as well, so that if any secret pop up, secrets unlock halfway through the campaign, or you come upon a new system you're not accustomed to, the app will be already built to support those new systems from the beginning. So really excited, and yeah, wanted to just thank you again, Vincent, for joining us
yeah,
in this announcement and development of this new solution for our community.
yeah, absolutely. I just want to add us for the fact that we have started working on Joe of the Lions, and
Hey, there we go.
uh, this is both of those games will see a companion app implementation, and um, yep, that's
Great.
it.
I'm very excited. So many more years of collaborations between Cephalofair and Lucky
Yes.
Duck Games to look forward to. And yeah, we want to thank everybody for who's given the app a chance. Thank you for your time and checking it out, and all the feedback that we've received. I know has been just fundamental to making improvements and the patch updates that we've been releasing on a very regular basis, Vincent. So thank you and your team for doing that. Where can folks find the current app, Frosthaven Companion app, and where can they find future apps as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, the app right now is on Steam as of about a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
It's on Android and Google Apps and Google App and Google Play. Sorry, if you just type Frosthaven in any of those search engine of this app, you will get to the app. And yeah,
Great. And it's my understanding in one of the most recent patch updates, right? So if I'm a player, right, and I'm just wanting to join, a session, do I need to purchase the app, or is that now free for me to download and use with my friends who already own the game?
thank you so much for pointing this out,
Yeah.
Price, because at the launch of the app in October last year, we only had a paid experience, which meant that for a multiplayer experience, everybody had to buy the app to be able to join the session. About 2 months and a half ago, we have released a free version. We call it a light version, which is
Okay.
basically the full app, but only capable of joining a session. So it means that only one of you has to buy the hosting app, and then all your friends can simply download this light version and join and play in this multiplayer session for free. And so this was a we tried to make some announcements, some noise. We don't see a lot of download of this, which is great. So to take an opportunity to remind viewers here that we have this light version available here.
Yeah, that is definitely something I know we've been hearing the community ask for, and has been on our laundry list for a really long time, right? So thank you so much for pouring the development time into that. It's huge being able to join a game as a player, right, and not have to make
Thanks.
that financial commitment.
Exactly.
Especially when only one app is truly required to play the game. It's just nice to kind of pop in and out as you need to. So
Exactly.
fantastic. So Google Play, the Apple App Store, and now on Steam as of the last month and a half. So super exciting.
Exactly.
And I know, again, just we're super excited in here to have a partner in Lucky Duck Games. Vincent, your company has been just a leader not only in publishing but also licensing and localizations in this space, and has been making huge waves over the last few years. So when it comes to partners in the space, I can't think of anyone that we would trust more to take this and lead this effort for our community. So I just personally wanted to thank you again for coming on stream today, but also trusting us enough to work with us on the apps. And yeah, where am I going to see you next? Are we going to do a convention here soon, or where
So,
can
so
I find
I personally will be at SN. I'm not coming at Gen Con, but we will have a team at Gen Con. We're releasing a title called Cosmoctopus. And yeah, and I have to say, just to conclude, that the pleasure is has been really ours, really. Like your team and Isaac and Ross and the whole Cephalofair team has been such a helpful and wonderful partner to work with. So which is why we're so committed to keep supporting this community and coming with more implementation. It's also because at the end of the day, it's been a pleasure working with you, Price. So looking forward for more.
well, working with you is always an opportunity to learn, Vincent. So many more years to come, hopefully, and looking forward to that. So, yeah, so we will catch Lucky Duck Games and Cephalofair at Gen Con. Both our teams will be there. You and I, sounds like may or may not be, but our teams for sure. You said
Exactly.
you have a new release at the show at Gen Con?
Cosmoctopus is called.
Cosmo. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
Exactly. Oh, actually, I see one question here. Maybe I'm
Oh,
overstepping,
sure.
asking if there is a French speaker. Actually, in fact, I didn't tell you this, but so we are studying the implementation of the localization of the application. Right now, the application was monolanguage, and so within the next week, we're starting the development of the capacity to translate it.
Oh, great.
So we may interact with the community here to try to get a community-driven translation of the app and try to have the best translation possible for this. I think it was very much requested, especially as multi-language version of sorry of translated version of Frosthaven is slowly emerging or to approaching, but also Joe of the Lion or Gloomhaven 2.0, which for sure will be supported in multiple languages. So I'm very happy to share with you that we are about to support localization of the app.
Oh, great. Super exciting. Yeah, we have, I think at this point, over 14, 15 or so localizations of the game internationally. So
Great.
Just something we're super proud of and is surreal to even think
Yeah.
of that exists. So having support for those languages is huge. So thank you. So Gen Con, Essen, we'll catch you at a couple of those shows. And yeah, other than that,
Exactly.
anything else you want to share here, Vincent, before we say goodbye to the
No,
community? And,
thank you so
all
much
right,
for having me today. And best of luck for the rest of the campaign.
great. Well, thank you so much, and best of luck with the upcoming launch here at Gen Con, and best to your team as well. So I think
Thank you
that's
so
going
much.
to do it for us today. So thank you everybody who was able to join us in today's Gloomhaven Grand Festival. We hope you continue enjoying the time that we have left in the festival while we continue this huge, ambitious crowdfunding project. Thank you all for making a part of it better and happen in the first place. So we'll catch you around. Have a great day.